astounding was going to happen to me as well. And as usual, Mildred directed me not to forget anything. Everything I would see would be important. Everything, she said. I should etch it all in my mind because I would need it later. She was right again. Then this continued, and later when I was first teaching art in public elementary school, she provided me with endless amounts of worldly reference materials that she felt would help my students. She was very interested in the curriculum that I was developing and that I was not going to underestimate any young person's ability to understand good art. We talked about it at length. And you know, she was right again. I never forgot it, and I always challenged them to be much further along than anyone expected them to be. And they loved that. As the years slowed and her physical ability and affected her physical abilities, she asked me to help her in her studio at Castle Tucker with her body of artwork. That really was a very special honor. She would ask my opinion on many things that seemed way beyond my position. Make no mistake, she made all the decisions. But what she was doing was giving me another gift. She was making me make tough decisions about her art in front of her and stretching me to have those decisions. But then she'd make me defend whatever I said. We stayed connected, and my wife Teresa and I visited her just a month before she passed and headed off to organize and motivate another world. Her work was not done, I'm sure. These are all examples of how Mildred Burrage stretched my mind and challenged me, as she did for so many people. She stretched the minds of the community, and she challenged them to preserve historic places while showing them how to rejoice in the latest cutting-edge painting, craft, and sculpture of the time. And 65 years later, her vision and enthusiasm still prevails through this show, the dedicated work of many people passionately giving of their time and talents to the Main Art Gallery, Lincoln County Historical Association, and all of the organizations that she fostered. Thank you.
I think Earle has a treat for us.
Yes. We're now actually going to hear briefly from Mildred herself in a recording. So if Peter and I can get this to work.
Shouldn't we turn the lights off or something?
I think
Like, ooh.
is it playing?
Yeah, okay. I think it's coming here.
Is it missing?
Friend of ours,
Yeah, here we go.
and she's so intimately connected with the
Let me explain. This first is the voice of Admiral William Royal, who was the head of the Lincoln County Cultural and Historical Association. And the situation is that there is a meeting at the courthouse in which Florence Bixby, who was a descendant of the courthouse family, is giving back things that had been taken to California during the 19th century. And it's a very special moment in which some of the original furnishings of the courthouse are coming back. Also, you must remember, Admiral Royal helped plan D-Day.
traveling 3,000 miles last year, and then again this year, just to pay us a visit. And we're absolutely delighted to see her, and we hope that this is a beginning of many more such visits. Ms. Burrage.
We thought that Miss Bixby was not coming
coming back to see us this summer. She wrote us in the summer. She could not make it. And my sister had the wonderful idea, if she couldn't come this summer, why not come the first week in September? And she agreed to that, and that she would change her time and come. So she's been with us now for a week, and we've had a perfectly wonderful time. And after she came, it occurred to me that it would be just wonderful if she could talk to all of the members of this association who are especially interested and who have ties with the courthouse, because we know that there are families all over Maine, Johnsons and Baileys and all kinds, and Mrs. Drew from the Gershom Flagg family and many other flags. There are people who are connected, and sometimes we don't know them. So when they come down here, we hear about it. So I thought that if we put this in the paper, we didn't have time to send you a notice, all the people who cared the most would see this, perhaps come. And so this was a delightful plan, and Miss Bixby was delighted to do it. And she began to tell us all kinds of things about the family that were very interesting. And then all of a sudden she said to me last week that she didn't think she really wanted to talk about her family. And I understood that you might feel that way. We don't go around talking about our families and saying how remarkable they are, always. But I said that we had a different kind of a family here in Maine, and she belonged to it. That in a way, we all belong to the same family. If we go back far enough, we suddenly find that we have connections of people that we didn't know. I met one of the professors yesterday from Bates at the meeting, and he said to me how distressed he was that he had never had a Mayflower ancestor. And I said that my father was distressed for the same reason. And this gentleman said to me, but my wife has 13. And we know that a great many of us are connected with one kind of a family or another. In fact, when Miss Bixby came the first time, my sister and I found that we were all descended from Major Simon Willard, who was the founder of Concord, who was a famous French and Indian fighter. And then later I had found that Major Samuel Goodwin's wife was a cousin of my great-great-great-grandmother, which no one in the family had any idea until we began to check these names. And so I said to Garth that this is a meeting today of people whose roots all go back very far in New England. Most of us here today are descended of this same stock. We have had sea captains, we have had shipmasters, we have had people who were in the Revolution, we have had people who were in the Civil War in our family. We are part of one family. And this family in New England has developed in certain ways so that I maintain that wherever I saw Miss Bixby, I would know that she was in New England. And I would know that she came from the state of Maine, I think, although she was born in California. Mother came from Dresden and went to Farmington Normal School, and this is true of some of the rest of us who may be here this afternoon. So I said, don't think about it as talking about your family. Think of talking about the American past and the people who lived here and what they did and how these people lived at the courthouse and how they were supported. People come up here from New Orleans and say to me, what are people in Maine living on today? I see no farming. Well, were these people farming in the past? What did they do? Or were they more dependent on going to sea at certain periods? I think perhaps they were. So that I'm hoping that as she talks to us, you may all have special questions you want to ask. And I hope that this is going to be a very informal afternoon. We'll all contribute a great deal because I think it's fascinating to know about the past of the courthouse, what kind of people they were, and what were their roots. She'll tell you about what happened, how they came, what they were here for, and I think we're going to have a wonderful afternoon. So it's the greatest pleasure to add to Admiral.